Shalom. This is Onieh, and we're here today to practice Hebrew once again. Today we are going to be practicing the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Not all of them. We're trying to go slowly through these letters. We did in a prior lesson go through all the letters, but I was sharing a lot of information for people and it might have gone over people's heads. So the practice sessions are us kind of going through the same material, but at a slower pace. And so we can actually become fluent in the material that we're actually learning. So for the last few weeks, we've been learning basically 2 letters a week. So we did learn Aleph and Bet and Gimel and Dalet, the first 4 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Also the first 4 letters of the English alphabet, because they are one and the same, as we've discussed before. And so today we are going to be learning the next letters, and that is Hey and Wa. And that corresponds to the 5th and 6th letters of the English alphabet as well. So, and we were also going to be practicing vocabulary that we've mentioned in previous lessons. The more we practice this vocabulary, the better we're going to become, and we'll start getting fluent. So, that said, I'm gonna start sharing my screen and we shall commence our practice. Now, first, let me pull up some Hebrew. Are there any passages from scripture that you want us to transliterate into Hebrew? Do you guys have any passages you'd like us to work on as well later on? Let's see, the one you sent me, what was that one? I'm gonna have to see. I'm just telling my other friend that if he wants to come on, he can. Melissa, do you have a verse or a passage, a chapter you'd like us to kind of transliterate today? Not necessarily the whole chapter.
Okay, are you saying to take a King James?
It doesn't have to be King James, but we can do King James or whichever version you prefer.
I'll find one.
Okay, yeah, find one. That'd be great.
Well, what about, let me think. Genesis 1.
Well, we did Genesis 1 the other day.
Well, I just wanted to do, well, how did I miss that one then?
You were there with it. You read through Genesis 1.
I did?
Yeah.
So how did you translate pneuma?
No, transliterate. And that's the Greek word. Pneuma
right.
is the Greek word.
Well, what is it then in
Hebrew? The word for spirit is ruach.
Oh yeah, duh. What am I thinking?
You're getting your languages mixed up.
Maybe I do have that Alzheimer's. Let's not talk about that.
I think that could be the Mandela effect with
well, do Exodus 2 then. Oh,
Exodus 2?
Exodus 2. Yeah, because I want to know when he says, do not make unto thee any graven image.
So that, I believe that would be Exodus 20.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but we will.
Verse 3 or something, isn't it? I don't remember.
Yeah, it depends which version you're using, but yeah. So we'll do that in a little bit. So now I'm going to start sharing the screen to the document file.
Do you want to know why I picked that verse?
Sure.
Because I want to see your translation versus Andrew Gabriel Ross.
Oh, well, we're not doing translation.
Well, you can still tell me your translation.
Well, I can think of it.
Okay.
I'll do my best. But
Is it do not take his name in vain, or is it do not make his name Lashav?
make his name what?
Lashav.
I don't
think
know.
that's what Andrew Gabriel Ross says, which means worthless. Can we make Yahweh's name worthless? And how do we do that?
Right. Well, we'll look at it. So our last practice, and by the way, for anyone watching live on Facebook or YouTube, you could actually join us if you want at any time on Zoom. If you have the Zoom website or the Zoom app, you can join at this link right here, and I'll let you join in at any time, whether it be practice session or the actual lesson on Thursdays. But for some people, they might just prefer to listen or watch the recording at their own leisure, and that's okay as well. But yeah, if you ever want to come on in, feel free to do so. So we talked last time about how that Aleph right here, Bet, Gimel, and Dalet are actually the origin of the English letters, the first 4 letters of the English alphabet. So Aleph actually is, in fact, the letter A. That is where the letter A comes from. Bet is, in fact, the letter B. Gimel is, in fact, the letter G, also C, because historically, the 3rd letter of the alphabet of English, the letter C, actually comes from the Greek letter, ultimately, through Latin. It actually comes from gamma, the letter gamma in Greek, and gamma directly comes from the letter Gimel. And I mentioned before how the pronunciation changed over time for that 3rd letter. Originally, it was a G sound, a G, but it became a K sound. And then, of course, we know that C eventually developed a S sound, a S, but it never originally had a S sound. But just, you know, how language changes over time, sounds can be assigned to letters that originally were not part of that letter. The 4th letter is Dalet, and that is the origin of the English letter D. Then we've got the letter E, which corresponds to the letter Hey in Hebrew. See here. And then finally, we have the letter F, also U, also W. And that corresponds with the letter Y in Hebrew. And so we're going to be reviewing this information today. Now, the original pronunciation of Aleph as a vowel sound was a as in apple, like I have up here. B as in banana for bet. G as in grape for gimel. D as in date for the fruit. And like I said, the origin of the letter C. And then we have the E as in egg F as in big, U as in, I forget the example I did before, but one example I've done in the past is juice. Or prune, okay? And for W, W as in water. And so we have for hey, it does actually have like a H type sound. So for all the vowels, Hebrew has vowels. Contrary to what many have said, Hebrew actually has vowels, and the vowels are as follows. They are, it keeps centering incorrectly. Hold on. What the heck? Why is it doing that? Oh, that's why, because it's all the way on the left side. All right, now it should be good. So in Hebrew, there's actual vowels, and the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, just like in English. Okay, and the sound values of these letters are, they are basically A, E, U. Okay, and so when you say naturally, when you're naturally saying there's actually like a guttural sound at the end. The guttural sound at the end is essentially like this. It has like a KH sound. Now, when you're using Aleph as a consonant, it will simply be a KH and not an Aleph in the front. But yeah, so Then we have and it actually has like a H at the end. And it's kind of the H in the sound of the word for honor and herb. There's a faint H sound. The letter I in Hebrew has the E sound in original Hebrew. And so the E basically has a Y at the end. E. When you naturally say E sound, it has a Y. For example, if you say Ia, it flows into a Y sound when it goes into another syllable. Ia. Okay, and then the letter O actually has a sound originally. So the sound has a GH sound at the end. And you can also imagine it as like a sound, like, you know, the word but it uses a O to, just like in the word for onion, onion, and then for oo, it actually has the sound of W at the end. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, and now when you have diphthongs, they're called diphthongs. There's two vowel sounds that can create diphthongs. They are E and U. So you have A plus E. You have eh plus E. You have plus E. Then you also have a plus u, e plus u, and o plus u. So what do those combinations create? Well, what they create is a plus e is I, has the I sound. I as in I. Now, what about the and the E sound? E, A, A. It's the A sound. A as in hey. And may. Okay, and the OE, OE, oi, oi. Oi as in joy and boy. Okay, and then a and the oo, when you combine them, ow, 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 ow. You hurt me, cow. Oo, oo, oo has an sound, like as in good, hood, would, could, should, took, book. It has that sound. Oh, oh, oh. Finally, the and oo sound. Oh, 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 oh has the O sound, like cold. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. So that actually is the origin of the different vowel sounds that we use. And that's how Hebrew used them originally. And then there's two other sounds that vowel sounds that this doesn't cover, and that is the sound ah and I, as in la, jog, hog, bog, log, the ah sound, and I as in pig, twig, lit, hit, quit. There you go. Yeah, so you've got the I sounds. Okay. Now, when do we write the I sound and the ah sound? We don't actually write that in Hebrew. Instead, between two consonants, we supply the sound. So let's say you have MLK, which means Kenan in Hebrew. The way to spell it in Hebrew would be all right. So MLK, between the first two letters, it's going to have an ah sound. Typically, for most Hebrew words, the ah sound comes first, and then the I sound comes second. To be Malik, Malik. So we would render that as in the transliteration as Malik. Now, sometimes in Hebrew, the ah sound is actually signified by a wa, and also the I sound is sometimes signified by the yod. So you could write Malik in this way, right here, Malik. Wa did not originally have this meaning or this sound, and yod did not originally have a sound. But over time, just like in English, how the letter U can mean different sounds, and the letter I can mean different sounds. Still the same is applied to the vowel letters in Hebrew. They have evolved over time. the Akkadians actually would pronounce it close to milk or malk, because what they did is they didn't the I sound is so soft and faint that it becomes silent in Akkadian. So, but yeah, so that's basically how you come up with those sounds. Aleph, hey, yod, ayin, and wa, u. And the diphthongs are what we talked about. They are e and e, e, and I. Okay, and ow. So ow and and oh. Oops. So yeah, those are the diphthongs right here. And the vowels, like I said. A, e, u, ow, I, a, o, oi. Okay. So now with that out of the way, we're going to specifically be focusing on the 6 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and corresponding them to English. And so we have whenever you see A in English, that corresponds, that letter corresponds to Aleph. And like I said, B for Bet, G for Gimel, D for Dalet, Hey for E, and U, F, and W for the 6th letter. And the reason it's those is because originally the Greek letter for W was the letter F. That's where our letter F comes from. It's called digamma, the letter digamma. But F, being originally pronounced as a W sound, eventually became pronounced as a V sound. Just like in Hebrew, wa is sometimes pronounced as a V by the Jews. So that's because wa and a W and V are very close sounds. So you have water, vater. It sounds almost identical. Watch, watch. Will, will. And wicked, wicked. Okay, so that's right. So W became V, and V became F sound in English. That is the process of evolution of the sound. So like vine, like, tree vine, tree fine, and let's see, visit versus visit. Visit, visit. Heart valve, heart valve. And vilify, vilify. So you can see how F and V sound very similar. Yeah, I did A-E-I-O-U. Well, no, I did, let's see. What did I do? Oh yeah, I did that, but the correct way to do it is A-E-U-I-O, because U actually comes first. So good catch there. But so yeah, so that is the origin of the letter F in English. So if you see F, that corresponds with the letter Y. Where's my mouse? Okay, let's see. Okay. It's funny that we call it a mouse, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some in my kitchen at night. The cat was playing with one.
Nice.
Yeah, she didn't kill it. She just played with it.
And let's see here. So that, like I said, those are the sources of those letters for transliteration purposes. But if you're transliterating by pronunciation, it's going to be different. Because, for example, in English, we might say, I hate you. But we're not pronouncing the letters as we write them. What we're actually saying is, let's see, I hate you. And if we were rendering it in English letters as we're actually pronouncing it, then it would actually be I hate I hate you. That's how we would say it. I hate you. So when we're rendering it by pronunciation in Hebrew, we would say, if we're rendering it by correspondence, where the letters equal like exact equivalence, but not based on pronunciation, just based on what the letters are being used, then we do it letter for letter. And that becomes I, Yod, Het, He, H, Aleph, A, Tav, T, He, E, Yod, I, or Y, Ayin, O, and Wa, U. But if we're rendering it by pronunciation, instead, we're going to say I, and then hate. And instead of using the T letter, we're actually going to use the Tet letter, because that's the actual pronunciation of T sound. And then we're going to use Yod and Wa. So I hate you. Of course, I don't actually hate you guys, but that's
Why
basically
did you pick that as an example?
because you can hate with a perfect hatred.
Why didn't you pick I love you?
Well, I did that last week,
Oh, okay.
I think. But yeah, I love you would be the same, except we're just replacing the middle word. So that would be the actual spelling would be Lamed, which is L, Ayin, which is O, Wa, which is V, and He, which is E. But if we're doing by pronunciation, the middle word would be with the bet, I love, because the bet has the V pronunciation when it's at the end of a syllable. That's why you hear people say like Avraham with a V instead of a B. And Av would be father with a V. So when there's two vowels in a row, that's the first vowel is going to be have the vowel cut off, and it's going to become a consonant if it's at the beginning of the word. So if you have, let's say, Yahweh, Yod He Wah He. So someone might see that and think that you should be pronouncing it as E. So it would be E, Iya, Hu, Yahuwah. That's how some people would say it, Iya. But when there's not a consonant before the first vowel and the vowel begins the word, the initial sound of the vowel is cut off if the second letter is also a vowel. So instead of iya, the E gets cut off and it just becomes yeah. And then, like I said, when you have He and Wa together, it forms a diphthong, a combined sound of a. So it basically becomes a single syllable, Yahweh, or Yahweh. The as in good, Yahweh. Now, there's different ways people pronounce it because no one knows for sure the correct pronunciation that the Jews were using. Whether it's written in the correct original way, who knows? But sometimes the Jews would pronounce it as Yehovah, Yehovah, or Yahovah, or Yahovah. Yahuwah could be, but it also could be, because like I said, it sometimes had like an ah sound. So it could be Yahweh. Well, there's different possibilities. We don't know 100%, but what I go with is Yahweh, but spelled as Yahweh, which is also why you see, Onieh or Onieh. It depends if it has a wa at the end or not. Onieh, Onieh. All right. So with that said, let me think. Is there any other example? There is also the name for Aaron, and that is so it would essentially be this. Aerun or On, because that's how they later pronounced it. And you would have it, like I said, for Yahweh, it's not Iya. The E gets dropped off because there's two vowels in a row at the beginning. So in the same way, it's not Ache, but it's He. So it's Karen. Karun, Karon, Karan. Now, the Jews actually do pronounce it like Aharon. Like they make hey into a H and not a vowel. So they make it into a Aharon. Now, I mentioned last time that the wa letter is actually the U letter, but it has become essentially the O letter over time. And the way it works, so you might actually be more comfortable writing an O when you're transliterating the pronunciation. And here's why. It's because O perfectly covers all the different possible pronunciations that the Jews use for the letter. So for example, if you want to say dog, like O, like the letter O as an ah sound, you'd say dog or log or flog, you know, the ah sound. But you can also say O as in, like I said earlier, onion, information, so basically any shun, the at the end. And we don't say information usually. We usually say infer, like you, like the sound, information. So you can, and then O can also have the oo sound, like do. Just do it already. The oo sound is for the O. So when you have Elohim, it could be pronounced, if you transliterate, let's say we want to transliterate the word Elohim, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yod, Mem. Now the Dead Sea Scrolls often will add a wa there, just so you guys know. But the correct way of writing it, there's no wa. But the Dead Sea Scroll writers added wa sort of like as a vowel mark to tell you what the pronunciation was between these two letters, Lamed and He. So so like I said, the Dead Sea Scroll writers have that wa sound letter there. So it could be pronounced as Allahim, Allah, Allahim, which is why the Muslims pronounce it as Allah, Allah. But you also have, so Allahim, Allah, or Allah. But then you have the sound. So Allahim, but you use the O because the O has a sound. And then you have a Aluhim, you know, Aluhim. But you also have, oh yeah, I forgot. There's also the O sound, cold, bode, nope, the O sound. So Elohim, that's why the Jews say Ohim, Elohim, because they use the O letter. They equate the letter O for wa. And instead of saying the U pronunciation, they give it the O pronunciation. And I believe that is a late development and that it's not part of the original language of Hebrew. But because the dialects changed over time, using the letter O to cover the wa letter actually works perfectly because it covers all the possible pronunciations you could ever assign for the vowels for the letter wa. So I would recommend when we do transliteration of pronunciation that we're going to render wa with an O and a W, but I would never render it with a V sound like the Jews often do. So instead of Aharon, it would be Haran or Karun. So it'd be Karan, Karun, Karun, or Karon. There's the different possible ways that you could pronounce it according to this pronunciation scheme. All right, and then so I think that's it for the pronunciation or the initial examples. So now we're actually going to go with the passage. And Melissa said that she wants us to go through Exodus chapter 20, at least part of it. But since it is the 10 Commandments, what we could probably do is just go through the 10 Commandments and transliterate. So
Yeah, good idea.
Let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste this and put it into the document file. Okay, let's see. I have to zoom out. It's too big. We might not do the whole 10 Commandments because that's actually pretty long, but we'll see. So let me share the screen for you guys. All right, so now we're going to get started. And now we've got the actual correspondences that we're going to be doing today. So the first is A. So Aleph replaces A. There's E, which is our new letter today. And what I'm going to have us do, whoops, is I'm going to have someone here try to read with the replacements and see if they can say it or not. So let's see. What? I don't want this to be, it keeps doing a weird thing. So it's going to be a little bit complicated, but we will do our best to get through this. Yeah, so I think we're not going to do the actual whole chapter. Let's see. Wow, we've got 4 letters in a row there. So I'll probably do up to verse 8, through verse 8, and then that's it. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to go all the way to the end of verse 8, and that's it. Let's see here. Okay. So as you see, as I'm typing it, you're getting a good idea of the different letters, what they correspond to in English versus Hebrew. Okay. Almost done, guys. Mm, Okay, so now we're on the do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. And then we'll be on the very beginning of the Sabbath law. Okay, and the final verse for our practice of corresponding the letters is verse 8 of Exodus chapter 20. Okay, so we've got here the transliteration. Steve, are you still doing your job? If not, do you want to read through this together, or if not, we could see if Melissa wants to try.
Oh,
Any takers? Okay, so Melissa, do you want to try or not? Or
are you gonna give me a hint?
so basically, you'll read the words as they're written, but with the Hebrew letters. And if you're not sure, you can ask for help, or you can skip that word.
I think I have it memorized if I know where it's at, where we're starting. I guess that's cheating, huh?
Yeah. So try from. Can you see my document?
And go
There's a letter there. What's the letter?
and go. Oh man. And God spoke thus.
What about this
Um,
word?
And God spoke. I don't know.
It has two L's at the end. So three-letter word.
All these words saying, right?
Yeah.
I always had to remember it.
Um,
The Lord,
that's I, the Lord. Yep.
I, the Lord,
It's basically
your
I
God.
I am the Lord. You're
I am the Lord your God,
oh I messed up
who
for that
brought
letter.
out of the land.
It should be this letter. I'm sorry.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's cheating.
Yeah, and that's not what it actually says.
Oh.
Verse
It's
2.
it's ESV. No, I'm just kidding. I better not try this because I'm just gonna just really not do good.
That's okay. That's actually why we want to see you do it.
I don't think so.
Occasionally I might forget to there might have been a few letters I forgot to transliterate. But so I'll just do it for you guys. But try to follow along. And if you can't, you can always look at the recording later on, like for those unable to actually see what I'm saying right now, because I'm sharing my screen at the same time. So, and God spoke all these words, saying, and again the G should be with the Gimel, saying, I, the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land. The D should be a dalet. Yeah, so that's what a D is, dalet. So land of Egypt, and the F should corresponds with the Wa of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. See, the last four letters are all in Hebrew letters. That's D, dalet, A, Aleph, G, Gimel, E, Hey. And then you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath. or that is in the water water under the earth. You shall not did I do the wrong letter? Bow, duh. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth of those who hate me, but showing mercy to to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments, replacing the C with a G, commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So there you go. Those are the 8 verses. So hopefully that review helps you guys. And now we're actually going to look at some of this vocabulary. Okay. So we'll review last week's vocabulary again, or the one that we did last Monday, where we did the numbers. So echad is 1. Also, ushti is 1 in original Hebrew. You've got shen, which is 2, and shalish, which is 3, arba, which is 4, and hamash, 5, chish, which is 6, but also the original spelling in the original Hebrew was shadish, but over time the D became dropped. But throughout the Bible, there's no examples of the D being included. Not in any Hebrew writing that we have preserved is the word for 3 doesn't have the letter D, but Akkadian does. And so Akkadian shows the evidence that the original of that word is in fact with a dalet. But yeah, so just keep in mind that in the Bible, it's not going to have that. So you're going to see, in the Bible, you're going to see echad always for 1, except if it's 11. When it's 11, you'll sometimes see ushti to mean 1 when it's combined with the word for 10 as well. Shin is 2. Chalash or chalish is 3. Arba is 4. Hamish is 5. and Josh is 6. Java is 7. I believe it's 8. I believe it's Haman or Hamana, but I gotta double check that one. And the word for 9 is Tasha. The word for 10 is Usher. Okay, so let me just briefly double check the word for 8 in Hebrew, because I don't want to give you guys false information. Yeah, so I picked the wrong, actually picked the wrong letter, so it's a good thing I checked. So it's not with a het, it's with a shin. So it's shamina. Right, so those are the numbers 1 through 10. And then the vocabulary, we're also going to try to remember are the first person pronouns. So that's ani and also enaki or aniki, which means I. Also, I am or I was, but it's the pronoun I. So keep that in mind. The word for we is enachnu. And the word for they is M, and the word for that's masculine them, and feminine them is N. Then feminine second person is at, and masculine is ata for second person. Singular, and then it's Tom or Tim is plural masculine, and Tim is plural feminine. So I think that's the pronouns, but let me double check here. Oh, it looks like oh yeah, okay. I forgot the singular for And I also forgot the Aleph for the second person. So let me show you guys. So it's atom and atom. And then the singular is ua, and the feminine is ea. Like I said, in Akkadian, it uses a S sound instead of a hey. So instead of hey, it would be S and S. So it would be Shawa and Shaya. Over time, the Hebrew language changed, and so hey was used instead of shin. Let's see, is there anything else for us to cover today?
Numbers?
Yeah, I actually mentioned the numbers a little bit ago. I'll show you in the document.
Okay.
I'll show you again. So we've got here one, which is ahad or ahed. And also originally, ushti is one, shin is two, shalish, three, arva, four, hamish, five, chash, six, shava, seven, shamna or shamina, eight, and let's see here, Lasha and Usher would be the numbers. Oh, I was going to put them in chat. I didn't know I was going to do that. It's tough for me to do it in chat because I have to type it in the font. That makes it harder. No, I'm typing it, sharing the screen and just typing it in the document file. Because people can just see me typing it in the file. So there's no need really to put it in chat, I think. Oh, well, this document file is really just like a free-for-all. What I might do is start sharing a file with you guys for vocabulary. I could do that in the emails or something, where I would just basically, here are the vocabulary we're working on. Excuse me. Here's the vocabulary we have up till now. So I can make a document file for you guys that might make it easier to help you guys. And then we would update that file every week. So that's what we'll probably do. Any final thoughts or questions before we end it tonight? I recommend that you guys keep practicing or start practicing if you haven't. If you haven't been doing so. But yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more and more Hebrew together. And this Thursday, we will be diving deeper into the plurals of Hebrew and how they work, because it's not as simple as it seems. There's actually extra rules that apply to plurals sometimes. So we will discuss the plurals as well on Thursday. So with that said, I think we're going to end here. We had a short crew tonight on the live call, but it's always nice to have at least 3 people doing it together. So we'll keep doing this as long as we have at least 3 people. We'll keep doing meetings every twice a week. But if we start getting lower than 3 on Mondays, we might reconsider whether we'll keep meeting on Mondays or not. It could be a fluke one-time thing where there's a low attendance one week in particular, then we'll play that by ear. But if it's a consistent problem, then we might roll back and just have 1 meeting, but we'll see how it goes. So try to practice the letters this week, letters A through F of the English, and try to render them into the proper Hebrew corresponding letters. All right, guys, I think we'll end it here because I'm getting tired and we've pretty much exhausted our time for practice session. There are a lot more vocabulary words that we did bring up in previous videos, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys with vocabulary. So for now, we'll stick with the numerals and the first person pronouns, and then we'll move from there. Shalom, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Oh, I'm tired just because I don't get the best sleep, and then the job that I do is physically exhausting. So combine that together, and I get sleepy all the time, especially when I'm doing long things like these studies. I love these studies, but it's just hard to do them. You got too much fruit. Nope, not enough fruit, right, Melissa? But thank you guys for coming on and studying together. And this, like I said, this is being recorded live to Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to rewatch, you can always go to my Facebook page, not my group, but my actual Facebook profile. And my videos will be there, the live videos. And also on YouTube, all the videos will be there. All right, that's it, guys. Shalom, have a great night. And we'll keep chatting Thursday, not Tuesday. We'll see you Thursday. But we'll keep chatting. We'll try to chat every day in the Facebook group chat. So if you guys are interested, who are listening on YouTube or Facebook, and you want to participate in this live, you can also practice with us by going onto Facebook and messaging me or commenting on one of my posts saying you want to do the Hebrew group chat, and then I'll add you in, and then you'll see the practicing that we do often every day. I haven't been as good about it this last few days, but I've been trying to post every day a little bit of Hebrew transliteration. So I'll try to do that tomorrow. And we have more letters to work with now. We have 6 letters. So the more we do this transliteration, the more you're going to be fluent or familiar with these letters and eventually become fluent in recognizing these letters. All right, I've rambled for long enough, so have a great night, guys.